What if someone told you the Gaza war could end in just 24 hours? Sounds impossible, right? Yet that's exactly what Donald Trump promised. A claim so bold it split the world between laughter and disbelief. But behind the bravado, there's a deeper question. What if he actually has a plan? While the Middle East burns and global leaders tiptoe around diplomacy, Trump insists he could bring peace faster than anyone else. Is that arrogance or insight? This war isn't just another distant conflict. It's a fuse that could ignite the entire Middle East. Israel and Palestine are locked in a tragic cycle of violence. The U.S. is losing influence, and millions of innocent lives hang in the balance. And now, the man once known for the art of the deal wants to step back into the rain, claiming he can solve what no one else could. The irony, the world might actually need someone unpredictable right now. In this video, we're going deep, not just into politics as usual, but into strategy, power, and psychology. How could Trump end the Gaza war? What would he risk and what would he gain? And most importantly, would peace under Trump be real peace or just a new kind of control? Stick around, because by the end, you'll see the Gaza war and Trump's foreign policy in a way you've never seen before. Donald Trump has never been one to whisper his ambitions. When he boldly declared he could end the Gaza war in 24 hours, it sent shockwaves through the world of foreign policy. Critics rolled their eyes, while his supporters saw it as vintage Trump. Confident, brash, and ready to make deals where others only talk. But behind that headline-grabbing claim lies a real question. Can any American leader, even Trump, truly bring peace to the Middle East? As Israel and Palestine remain trapped in an endless cycle of violence, the stage is set for another geopolitical gamble, one where words alone won't stop the rockets. The Gaza war today isn't just about borders or ideology. It's a human tragedy unfolding under the eyes of a weary world. Thousands of civilians have been killed, entire neighborhoods flattened, and generations are growing up knowing only war. The Biden administration has tried diplomacy, quiet calls, aid packages, and UN resolutions, yet the situation only worsens. For the U.S., the conflict is more than a moral dilemma. It's a test of influence. And for Trump, it's the perfect opportunity to prove that his version of America first can also mean America in charge. Trump's reemergence on the global stage feels almost inevitable. After years of legal battles and political storms, he's once again positioning himself as the man who can fix what others broke. He thrives on high-stakes moments, and few are bigger than the Middle East. Ending the Gaza war wouldn't just be a diplomatic victory, it'd be a personal redemption arc. But here's the real intrigue. Does Trump truly seek peace, or is this another power play to reclaim his throne in global politics? That question takes us straight into the heart of the chaos itself. Right now, Gaza stands as one of the most devastated places on Earth. The Gaza war has turned homes into rubble, hospitals into shelters, and generations are growing up knowing only war. Over 35,000 Palestinians have reportedly died since the conflict reignited, while Israel faces relentless rocket attacks from Hamas. It's not just a war between two sides, it's a humanitarian nightmare affecting millions. For ordinary families in both Gaza and Israel, daily life is an exhausting blend of fear and survival, while the world debates who's right and who's to blame. U.S. diplomacy under President Biden has walked a tightrope, supporting Israel's right to defend itself while urging restraint to avoid civilian casualties. But the longer this drags on, the more Washington seems trapped in its own contradictions. Billions in military aid continue to flow, yet so does criticism from inside the Democratic Party and among U.S. allies. It's a reminder that in the Middle East, even the best-intentioned foreign policy often becomes a political minefield. Biden's cautious approach might keep the U.S. out of direct confrontation, but it's done little to stop the bleeding. What makes the Gaza war so impossible to solve is that it's not just about land or religion, it's about identity, history, and trauma. The ghosts of past peace talks, from Oslo to Camp David, still haunt every new negotiation. Each ceasefire feels like pressing pause on an old film that always ends the same way. And as chaos deepens, the question grows louder. Could Trump's return to power really change this brutal script, or would it simply set the stage for another unpredictable act in the Middle East? When Trump talks about the Middle East, he does so with the swagger of someone who's been there, done that. During his presidency, he brokered the Abraham Accords, a rare diplomatic breakthrough that normalized relations between Israel and several Arab nations, including the UAE and Bahrain. It wasn't a miracle cure for regional instability, but it shifted the political landscape. Trump's approach was never about idealism, it was about leverage. To him, every handshake, every photo op was a transaction, a deal to be made if the price was right.
His close relationship with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu became one of the most defining aspects of his foreign policy. Together, they moved the U.S. Embassy to Jerusalem, recognized the Golan Heights as Israeli territory, and tightened the pressure on Iran. Actions that thrilled Israeli conservatives but alienated Palestinians and much of the Arab world. To critics, this wasn't diplomacy. It was favoritism disguised as strategy. Yet even they admit one thing. Trump got results that few American presidents could have pulled off. That reputation, the deal-maker who bends reality to his will, is exactly what fuels his confidence about ending the Gaza war. But if history has shown anything, it's that Trump's unpredictability cuts both ways. His foreign policy often looked like a high-stakes poker game, bold, risky, sometimes genius, sometimes reckless. Still, that very unpredictability made adversaries cautious and allies alert. It's what he believes can bring Hamas, Netanyahu, and the broader Middle East back to the table. The real question, though, is whether the same playbook that made deals in 2020 can stop missiles in 2025, and what kind of peace Trump is really envisioning this time.
If there's one thing Trump prides himself on, it's his ability to make deals no one else can. But in the case of the Gaza war, the deal on the table isn't about business. It's about lives, ideology, and centuries of mistrust. His 24-hour peace plan may sound like campaign theater, yet those close to him claim it's rooted in a mix of pressure and persuasion. Trump could lean on his strong ties with Netanyahu to push for a conditional ceasefire, using economic incentives and promises of U.S. backing. On the other hand, he might approach Arab states, like Egypt, Saudi Arabia, and Qatar, offering strategic partnerships in exchange for their role in restraining Hamas. Economic leverage has always been one of Trump's favorite tools. He might reintroduce sanctions or trade incentives to steer regional actors toward cooperation. For instance, he could offer reconstruction funding to Gaza through Gulf allies, but make it contingent on Hamas's disarmament. A risky move, but one that plays to his transactional instincts. His team has reportedly floated the idea of regional peace through profit, suggesting that integrating Gaza into broader economic frameworks could curb extremism. It's not entirely far-fetched. After all, similar approaches helped stabilize parts of the Balkans and post-war Iraq, albeit with mixed success. Yet the challenge is that peace can't be negotiated like a real estate deal. Trump's confidence may clash with the realities of warfare, religious identity, and decades of failed diplomacy. His strategy might rely on shock and speed, a take-it-or-leave-it approach meant to break the deadlock. But quick solutions often leave deeper wounds. And while his supporters see him as the only one bold enough to try, others warn that his brand of U.S. diplomacy could inflame tensions rather than cool them. Either way, his plan, if it truly exists, will ripple far beyond Gaza's borders.
If Trump were to step back onto the world stage with a bold new peace plan for Gaza, the international response would be immediate. Israel might welcome his tough stance and unshakable loyalty, especially Netanyahu, who sees in Trump a rare ally, unafraid of global backlash. But Hamas would likely view him as an extension of Washington's pro-Israel bias, making direct negotiations nearly impossible. Meanwhile, Iran, Hamas's longtime supporter, could interpret Trump's re-engagement as provocation, potentially reigniting old tensions across the Middle East. The entire region would hold its breath, waiting to see if his diplomacy would bring calm or chaos. U.S. allies in Europe would likely react with cautious skepticism. After years of erratic foreign policy moves, many Western diplomats still view Trump as unpredictable, someone who might bypass traditional channels or alienate partners in pursuit of a win. Yet, even they can't ignore his past achievements, such as the Abraham Accords, which changed the calculus of Middle Eastern diplomacy. Oil markets would immediately respond too. The mere hint of instability or renewed hope for peace could send prices soaring or plummeting overnight, affecting economies worldwide. When Trump moves, the world economy moves with him. But perhaps the biggest risk lies not in Trump's actions, but in the global perception of his motives. Is his desire to end the Gaza war driven by humanitarian concern or by a hunger to reassert American dominance? Nations like China and Russia, both eager to expand influence in the Middle East, would surely test his resolve. The geopolitical chessboard would shift once again, forcing everyone, from the UN to regional powers, to choose sides. And as the world braces for another era of Trump-style diplomacy, one question remains: is this pursuit of peace or the prelude to a new power struggle? At its core, Trump's talk of ending the Gaza war blurs the line between statesmanship and showmanship. To his supporters, he's the only leader bold enough to cut through the endless bureaucracy of U.S. diplomacy, a man who values results over red tape. To his critics, it's all political theater, a calculated move to reclaim the global spotlight and prove that America first still rules. But even his harshest opponents admit one thing: Trump understands power. He knows that the appearance of control can sometimes be as influential as control itself, especially in a world desperate for stability. The idea of Trump bringing peace to the Middle East sounds almost paradoxical, the world's most polarizing leader ending one of history's most stubborn conflicts. Yet paradoxes have always been part of his brand. His peace plan, whatever shape it takes, will likely challenge conventional diplomacy. It may lean on pressure, profit, and persuasion more than compassion or compromise. But perhaps that's what his followers admire: the belief that forceful pragmatism can achieve what empathy alone cannot. The question is, will that kind of power truly heal Gaza, or will it merely reset the board for the next explosion? In the end, the Gaza war isn't just about borders. It's about how humanity defines justice, revenge, and hope. If Trump does return to the Oval Office, his approach will test not just the strength of American influence, but the limits of modern diplomacy itself. Can a single man, armed with ego and experience, end a conflict that's older than his presidency? Or will his pursuit of peace become another political battlefield? Maybe Trump can end the Gaza war. Maybe he can't. But one thing's for sure: he's changed how the world sees diplomacy. Love him or hate him, his boldness forces others to act, to think differently, to question what's truly possible in a region built on endless conflict. And whether his peace plan turns out to be genius or chaos, the ripple effects will reach far beyond Gaza, from Washington to Tehran, from Tel Aviv to the UN. So what do you think? Is Trump's claim just political theater, or could his raw deal-making style actually bring Israel and Palestine to the table? Could the man who built his empire on negotiation really pull off the ultimate deal: peace in the Middle East? Or would his America-first diplomacy reignite old flames instead of extinguishing them? Share your thoughts in the comments. I really want to hear what you think about Trump's chances of stopping the Gaza war. And if you want to keep exploring how power, politics, and diplomacy shape our world, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss what's coming next.